everybody. Good evening. How are you? Are you doing well? I hope you are. Hope you're doing wonderful. I wanted to make just a real quick video and talk for a moment on fakers and people who do telekinesis. Now, am I saying that all ESP is fake? No, not at all. I have abilities myself, but I've talked about that in different videos. But in this one, I wanted to speak specifically about telekinesis. There's a certain woman who is in some of the same communities that I'm in, and she likes to wow people with her telekinetic abilities. And while people are debating and doing lives, she's over here doing this and spinning a piece of paper. Well, guess what? I know that trick too. I learned it when I was young. It was funny because when I was a young girl, I wanted to be a magician, and my family used to spend a lot of money on different types of classes and tricks and stuff for me to practice and get better at my craft. But after a few years, I got kind of bored with it because I seen how it was done, and I kind of moved away from it. But nonetheless, some of the things you see are simply science. They're not magic. There's some science behind some of the stuff. So I'm not going to expose the individual who is doing this. Some of you might already know because we are in the same community, so you see her too. But I just wanted to expose how this trick is done and how you shouldn't always believe everything that you sometimes see. All right, here we go.
Hey guys, Christian Meder here, and today I want to teach you guys a trick. In this trick, it will look like you have telekinetic abilities and you can move things without touching them. This is of course just a trick, and it bases itself on science. There are three things you're going to need for this. It's a piece of paper, a cork from a wine bottle, a needle, and a warm cup of coffee or any other beverage. In this case, I use water. Step number 1 is cutting out a square piece of paper. The second step is folding up the paper diagonally so it becomes like a triangle. It's important that this is a square piece of paper, so cut off the edge if you see there's any extra paper on the sides. Then you fold it the other way, so in the end you'll end up with a square piece of paper with a cross in the middle. The next step is to take the cork and the needle. You place the needle into the cork. The sharp end of the needle is sticking out of the cork. Then you take the piece of paper and you place it on top of the needle. The only thing you have to do now is to put your hands on the side of the piece of paper, and the trick will work by itself. Don't place the hands totally together, but leave some space in between your hands for air to come in. If the trick doesn't work, it might be because the room is too warm or your hands are too cold. Then you can take a cup of coffee and warm your hands on the cup of coffee, and then you can try again. Now the trick should work.
Alright everyone, so now that you've seen this first video, let me show you another one. This one shows something somewhat similar. Tell me what you think.
I'll get it to spin all the way around. Now I know what you're thinking. He's secretly moving the table without telling us. No, I'm just kidding. It's all about the science. You are the secret. By secretly rubbing a plastic straw against paper before we do this effect, this action generates static electricity, causing electrons to jump from the paper to the plastic, which causes the straw to be negatively charged. As your hands approach the straw, the excess electrons on the straw repel some of the electrons on your skin, leaving an area of positively charged protons behind. Since opposites attract, this positively charged section of of your skin will now attract the negatively charged straw, giving you the superpower to move the straw without even touching it.
Now, there are a few other ways you could do this trick, but that's just a few examples here on how sometimes it can be done. All right, everyone, welcome to the apocalypse. Have a great day. Peace.
This is the Eggley wheel. It's a device that's supposed to measure your energy or chi by how fast the wheel turns when you curl your hand around it. You can see it works with my own hand, but when I put a plastic hand by it, it doesn't work. Even when I wear gloves, it still turns when I put my hand near it, but not as much. So how is this working? Well, this is a very low mass plastic wheel balancing on a pinpoint, so it takes very little force to turn it. You can see I can blow on it and make it turn without even moving these packing peanuts. So very tiny air currents can make it turn. But I'm just gonna breathe very slightly and get it to turn clockwise. So the air currents from the warmth of your hand can turn it, and also just when you place your hand near it, the moving air currents turn it, and even your breathing when you're curling your hand around it can turn it. You can see when I put it in a closed container, it won't spin when I put my hand near it now. But even if there's a tiny gap under the rim of the cup, it can still make it turn from the small air currents. So it doesn't measure your chi, but it does measure how hot you are.